Hello everybody, Levi Clay here, back again for a rather impromptu stream. I'll be completely honest with you, this is a distraction technique for myself. I need to sit down and write a guided practice routine, a weekly guided practice routine, which of course I put on Patreon, one every week. I've done that for nearly 2 years now. So check out the link in the description, get access to my weekly guided practice routines over on Patreon. You will have a lot of fun with them. Hopefully my levels are okay. It's looking a little bit on the quiet side. Let me see if I can do something about that. Let's add gain. Hello. Yeah, that pushes that up. Hello. Oh, that's pushing that right into distortion. Hello. There we go. That looks about right. Maybe. We'll see. As usual, use the chat function. Let me know how things are going. Let me know how things are looking. As I say, this is a minor distraction for myself, but it's an opportunity to talk about supercharging practice routines. Obviously, I'm going to plug my Patreon. I'm going to do a lot of practice here because realistically, what I'm doing here is I'm looking for kind of solid vibes, solid grooves for when it comes to sitting and recording this practice routine. So I have a little backing track prepared. Backing track in the loosest sense of the word. It's a loop pedal that sounds like this. So what is this? Well, this is in fact, let's change our camera. So this is just an A7 chord. Technically an A13. I'm just thinking A7 over this. And I'm going to play round and round on this track, creating sounds. So when I talk about when I talk about supercharging your practice routines, I think that most of the time I focus on, with my students, I focus on developing the mind over developing the hands. The focus is always the mind over the hands, because I think a lot of my students, they don't really need to work on their hands. A lot of guys come to me as quite advanced players, really great fingers, but they don't really know what to play. They lack groove, they lack creativity and things like that. So what I'm looking to do is improve the mindset of the student. And I found that for me, the way to kind of supercharge all of my practice was to make sure that I stopped thinking about patterns and I started thinking about chords. I started thinking about the chords that I'm actually playing on. So if you've picked up any of my guided practice routine books, I'm looking around to see if I have one to hand. I don't have one to hand. You'll probably be aware of this, but when I play this A7 sound, I don't want to think to myself, okay, well this is the 5 chord in the key of D, so I can play the D major scale, but as a 3-note per string rock guy, I don't like major scales, I prefer minor scales, so rather than playing D major, I'm going to play B minor. I hate that as an approach. That doesn't work for me. I want to see this and go, okay, well I'm playing over an A7 chord. What does that mean? So I'm playing a lot of stuff there. But what is the focus when I'm doing that? I have to be aware of my chord tones, right? And no matter where I am on the neck, I can always play my chord. So I played very simple. Third, fifth, flat 7. I'm always thinking in terms of intervals, and I have this real strong sense of what my chord tones are. So we've got a question here from Alejandro. Says, how should one practice playing along to chord changes? I'm one of those guys with lots of chops, from playing metal, but I don't know what to play beyond being able to play in the key. Yeah, so we're sort of tackling that here, right? And I think the answer to that is that, or at least I see many students like yourself there, raising that issue, and they immediately want to jump into playing over chord changes. But in order to be able to play over chord changes, you have to be able to play over chords, singular chord. and really make the sound of that chord. And then you learn to make the sound of two different chords, and you focus on how you connect those two things. And the answer is always the same, man. The answer is always the same. If you can't play the sound of A, like really strong, with a real degree of focus, then you're never going to be able to play A. I went to a D there. You'll never be able to outline those chord changes. So you've really got to be really comfortable with the sound of the chord. So that's something that I do encourage, all of my students, and I'm put a lot of focus on just putting our hand in one place on the neck. Here, can I play A? Where's the root note? Where's the third? Where's the fifth? Where's the flat seven? Where's the root? Continue on down. Now I'm just limiting myself to just the notes of the arpeggio. It doesn't sound all that musical. Different area, third, fifth, flat seven, root, flat seven, fifth, third, root. No matter where I am, root, third, fifth, flat seven, root, third, fifth, flat seven, fifth, third, root. So we have to have that. To me, like, that's just the most important thing. If we can't do that, if we can't just confidently be able to play the sound of the chord, then all of the other stuff that we would play around it, all of the melodic stuff that we would play around it, scales or chromatic passing tones or going outside, none of that means anything unless you can play the sound of the chord. Do you suggest using the looper and playing over just one chord, adding more chords? Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of what I'm doing here, right? So and that's what I'm going to do over the course of this video. So I'm going to stick to this A, then I'm going to introduce a chord change. So once I can do that, I can then start thinking about, well, what note could I use to connect the fifth and the flat seven? Do I want to play? Do I want that? Or do I want to play? I'm not using theoretical terms. I'm going to in a second, but I'm not asking myself, do I want to play this interval or this interval? I'm just saying, which of these sounds do I like the sound of? Or there's no right answer, there's no wrong answer, just which one do you like the sound of. So I'm going to go for the sixth. It's in the chord, it makes the most sense. I like the sound of that, so I'm going to start integrating that. starting to add a lot of passing tones in there. But at its core, you can always hear the sound of the chord, right? That's, to me, it's just the most important thing, because everything else that I would throw on top of things like this, like at one point there, I played a C sharp minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio. You know, I know that works. But without the sound of my chord to bring everything home to him, none of it means anything, right? So I'm a seasoned metal guitarist, would like to deviate into some jazz prog. What mid-level guitar would you recommend to get smooth, warm sound like you have? Honestly, any guitar, you can get it out of a Strat, you can get it out of a Telecaster, you can get it out of an Ibanez, RG, you can get it out of any of those things, Tim. Your gear should never get in the way of you playing the things that you want to play. I don't usually even play, well, I play this guitar all the time in the studio, but this isn't what I gig on. I play a Strat live now, and it couldn't be more different than this, but I can still get the sound that I want, right? Because, you know, I think a lot of our sound and control comes from us, the player. So there's no particular consideration has gone into this tone. It's just a clean tone. It's an out of tune clean tone. Who needs to be in tune? Now, I think one of the other things, and I probably don't talk about this enough on my Patreon, is rhythm, right? So when I am playing over that, hi Timothy, when I am playing over a groove like that, I'm not just playing like this. Can't do that apparently. Apparently long streams of eighth notes like that, it doesn't sound good, right? So when I'm working on groove, the rhythm is just as an important part of it. In fact, I could take a note. Make that note. I don't want to say I've made the note sound cool, but I've used rhythm to make the note, or to play something that sounds interesting. If I add just 2 more notes to that, I'm desperately wanting to play more notes, so I'll play a few more notes. Having fun with things there, right? I'm trying to make things rhythmically quite interesting, and hopefully you find those rhythmically interesting. Let me keep reading. Great job on the Van Halen solo. No, I'm not going to do the rest of it. I don't work for free. Go and support my Patreon page, then maybe. Wondering if I ever have any issues as a transcriptionist with labels that own and sell their own transcriptions of the music. I would never dream of posting transcriptions that people already sell. You have to, when you say with labels that own and sell their own transcriptions of the music, okay, first of all, there's a lot of complexity around the idea, right? The artist always owns the transcription. Even when I do the transcription, they always own it because it's their composition, it's their publishing rights. I have moved into more of a fair use thing where I'm happy to post transcriptions of things that don't exist. But if an artist is out there trying to make bread from their work, from their music, ultimately that's what I try and help with, right? I do what I do because I want to work with more artists and help them make more money. So I want to make their transcription products for them. But if the transcription doesn't exist and I want to make something to show off how good I am as a transcriber, then I will do that. But I think it would be a really assholey thing to do, to just start giving away something that somebody else is trying to sell, you know? Like, you could photocopy all of my books and start giving them away, but that would make you an asshole, right? And in the same way, you know, I'm not, when I do things like this, I'm not just copying other people's work. I'm sitting and I'm putting in the work. But even then, at the end of it, I've still got their work, their product, right? So I would never do that. So I don't end up in those problems. Any economy picking drills that you could show us, please? No, not really, Barry. I'm not much of an economy picker. I don't really talk about technique anymore. The last chapter in guided practice, the advanced guided practice routines, is economy picking, where we do a lot of the those. My economy picking use is now there's technique in there, but it's not technique driven, so it's not. I don't really like to talk about technique, no. Good morning from Anchorage, Arkansas. Hello. Hey, Levi, I thought I'd drop by for a bit. Appreciate it, David. Hope you're well. Different tunings. Yeah, well, when you're working in different tunings, it becomes very, very different. I can play pretty well in Open E and Open G, and of course variants of. So Open D is like a variant of Open E, but a lot of learning has to be done to do that. So where did I buy that shirt? It looks like fuck's sake. He'll never leave. Love your channel. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Matthias. Jeff Beck's playing style was awkward. His playing style was hard. Yeah, I'll give you that. But Scott Henderson does a lot of Jeff Beck sound with a lot more on top. So Candy Rat Records. Yeah, okay. So the label sells tablature on their website. I don't see many guys talking about them. Yeah, so Candy Rat sells transcriptions, as they should, because, you know, transcriptions of your work is a great way to make money. I am baffled that my old friend Andy James hasn't had me transcribe his new album for him. I guess when you're in Five Finger Death Punch, you don't need to worry about making money anymore, because the way I see it, you've put out a new album, your own album. It's great. People love it. They want to buy transcriptions of it. You should be selling them. That's business. That's just how we, you know, give your fans the things that they want, and you will be rewarded for that. So Candy Rat are doing what they should be doing. I don't see any issues though, because obviously I'm not posting transcriptions of their stuff because they're selling it. So yeah. How do I decide what scale notes to play depending on the chord? The chord always tells me what to play. Okay, so let's do that. The Beato book is online for free. It is online for free. Yeah, I have a link to it online for free. Here we go. Two great questions here. So Tommy and Timothy. Levi, is the diminished seventh chord in a major key half diminished and can be full diminished? The full diminished only in a minor key. Okay, Timothy, there is no diminished 7 chord in a major key. So if I'm playing in the key of G, chord 1 is G major 7, chord 2 is A minor 7, B minor 7, C major 7, D7, E minor 7, F sharp minor 7 flat 5, then we end up back at G major 7. Okay, there is no diminished chord in the key. Anytime you play a diminished chord, I'm actually working on a book on this subject at the moment, so you've done well to ask the question. It's like you're a paid prompt. Anytime a diminished chord happens, it's usually, I don't want to say every time, but almost every time, it's usually functioning as a dominant 7 chord with a flat 9. Diminished 7 chords don't really occur naturally in a key. I'll give you an example. Again, if I play G major 7, and then we'll call it an A flat, diminished 7, A minor 7, D7, common chord progression, right? So when we hear that G major 7 go into an A flat diminished 7, well, there's no A flat diminished 7 in the key of G major. So what is this? This is an E7 chord with a flat 9. It's really this chord. In fact, if I play this and then go, it's functioning in the same way. Because what this diminished 7 chord is all of the notes of an E7 chord with a flat 9. So that would be E, G sharp, B, D, and F. So E, well, the chord doesn't have an E in it, we'll come to that. G sharp, B, D, and F. So anytime I see a diminished 7 chord, what I tend to think to myself is, how is this functioning? And the answer to that is usually, almost always, a dominant 7 chord, a semitone below where you're, well, below one of the notes, because this chord is both an E7 flat 9, it's also a G7 flat 9, it's also a B flat 7 flat 9, and it's also a C sharp 7 flat 9. It's functioning as 4 different chords. So there's a lot of theory that we're talking about there. And coming to Tommy's point, how do I decide what scale? Well, here's a great example, right? So if we acknowledge that diminished chords don't fit in this key of this backing track, this A, right? There's no diminished chord here. This is just an A7 sound, right? But I want to create a diminished sound here. I want this sound, or more specifically, this sound. It's really wild. And I'm going to resolve that idea. So what I have to do is I have to learn, how do I access that diminished sound? So I spent a long time working on this. Half whole diminished versus whole half diminished. And I've settled on only ever using the diminished scale, never using the half whole, always the whole half. So diminished over inverted diminished. Diminished, the scale that spells out a diminished chord. So over this, if I want to play an A7 altered sound, which is that, all these types of things, I'm going to play B flat diminished sounds, and I need to be able to find those. So how do I find those? Well, I still think A, but from the 3rd, 5th, flat 7, or flat 9. There's spice. I can always play a whole half diminished scale. I can always play a diminished scale. So we have inside, outside. It doesn't matter where I am. If I'm here, if I go, I'm on my 3rd here, I can move up a tone. That tells me that's my diminished pattern. So yeah, I'm going to do some practice on that. The guitar is a Gibson Howard Roberts. Beautiful guitar. I have 2 of these. I've never used the other one on camera, I don't think. The other one is going to be in a video soon. So I'm just going to play some A dominant. Then I'm going to connect that into some diminished and then bring it on home. So that's coming to the Tommy's idea of how do I decide what scales notes to play depending on the chord. I can stick with the scale, or I can bring in a deliberate outside sound and then spend my time developing as a player to get better at resolving those ideas that sound a little bit outside, right? So I'm going to play this simple melodies, inside sound, outside sound. So we find our notes are the third. Flat 9 too much. Whoops. So that's me getting some outside sounds on that, and I think it doesn't really matter on the sound that you're playing there. So I'm doing it on a dominant chord sound. But if I change my vibe up to be a little bit more minor in sound, right? If I go, what do we want to play in? Yeah, let's pretend we're doing. Let's not pretend. Let's literally do it. Let's do Superstition. So if I go. That's not the melody there. So this is like G minor, E minor. can still... The idea, right? So I'm just going round and round and round there, and I'm thinking thanks, I'm thinking E minor, and then anytime I want some tension, which is usually at the end of my fourth bar, I'm going to pull in I'm going to play some diminished and bring it back. And you see some guys going, well, the correct thing to do there is to pretend you're playing E minor to a B7. I don't like the sound of that. I don't like that. Doesn't actually results in a different sound, because what you would do there is you would pretend that you've got a B7, and over this B7 I would actually play this. I don't like the sound of that. I like this. So yeah, I play it. I play the sound that I like rather than the sound that the theory would dictate that you should play. Okay, is there a name for scales that modulate into another mode at the octave? I've been having fun with the harmonic minor, turning into Phrygian dominant of the octave. I'm not really sure that makes sense. So you're talking about like going, and then at that point, That's harmonic minor on the bottom, and then Phrygian. That sounds really weird to my ears, so no. Let's keep going. Your brain hurts now. Good. Join my Patreon, link in the description, and we can do video. Well, I do videos like this every week on Patreon, with a full practice routine for you to work on. Thanks for what I do for the guitar community. You're welcome, James. I'll do my best. Your grandma's. I'm never going to ban you. You're too much fun. Love my channel. Good. Thank you very much. When I posted some of the Paul Gilbert transcriptions, I'm going to keep those Paul Gilbert stuff coming. I was listening to Paul Gilbert last night, actually. Maybe we'll come back to that soon. C diminished arpeggio. Let's try that again. I'm playing C diminished arpeggios over A7 chord, and it sounds like it fits. Is that correct? So over an A7 chord, C diminished. C diminished is the same as A diminished. They're the same notes. The one thing to point out, and I can kind of see that there's a question here. I thought F sharp AC was diminished 2 minor thirds. So I'm talking about the diminished scale, not the diminished arpeggio. They're closely related. One is minor thirds. One is that same thing, but we go whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step. So I'm playing the diminished scale rather than the diminished arpeggio. Not that I don't love the diminished arpeggio too. That works. Nice little economy. What's my watch going for? I don't know. So that's what I'm considering. Also, a G major 7 arpeggio seems to fit over the A7 chord. Yeah. I mean, so what you're talking about there, Charlie, is like diatonic arpeggio stuff. Like logically, if this is an A7, my A7's gone. Let me bring my A7 back. I could play, A7, but technically, if you stay on the G major 7 too long, it doesn't sound good to my ears. But if I play maybe you go so I played. So I'm using, I use some of that G major 7. You can do that. You could do it with literally anything, right? I could do over the A7. I could play B minor 7. C sharp minor 7 flat 5. There are some notes in there somewhere. Any routine or way to practice intervals and improvising ear training, switch recognition by sound instead of visualization patterns? Yeah, Saber, sing everything that you play. Everything that you play. So when I'm doing this, if I go, so I know what my third is. Ba da ba da da ba da ba da da ba 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 da ba ba da ba ba da 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 ba ba da 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 ba 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 da ba da 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 ba da da ba da ba my diminished singing evidently is a little not there. But what I'm trying to do is, you heard there was a point there where I sang a diminished melody, which is this, but I tried to play this, and that's a disconnect between the thing I'm hearing and the thing that I'm playing. I should be led by the thing that I'm hearing, not by the thing that my fingers want to do. Our fingers are just looking to play the things that we hear in our head. So the simpler the idea, I like to make my students play a melody, and then at any point stop and ask you, what would it sound like if I moved my finger down one fret and played that note? Or if I play the more you do that, the more you start to develop this connection between like hearing ideas and where to play them on the fretboard. When I'm singing a melody like that, you could tell because I made a mistake, right? I wasn't thinking root 7 2 1 6 5. I've just heard and played it. The more you do that, the better you get just automatically doing that. So Abstract and Modern thinks I'm cooking. I appreciate that. Thank you. Arpeggios from each other. Yeah, so someone's done that. While improvising, I struggle to feel or keep time evenly, get lost in form. Yeah, I think one of the biggest struggles that people tend to have in keeping the beat when they're playing is that they don't know where the beat is in the first place. So when I'm playing, I'm moving my body, and I hear all of my melodies, all of my phrases, and that's the keyword, phrases, in relation to this beat, right? So the phrases are really important. I would never play this because what I'm doing there is I'm noodling, right? I'm just moving my hands around and trying to hope that I play something that sounds good, and I end up being surprised by everything that I play because I don't know what it is that I'm looking to do. But I'm looking to play very strong melodies. So a melody, a phrase, is 2, 3, da da ba da da da, ba da ba da da, ba 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 da ba da, da ba da ba da ba. And you'll notice 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Da da ba da da da. Da da ba da da. if I do it like this, 1, 2, 3, ba 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 da ba da, da da ba da da. My phrase is 2 bars long. Anytime I play phrases, they tend to be 2 bars long. Therefore, it's very difficult for me to lose the beat or where I am in a chord progression, because, well, if I lay down let's go faster than that. So when I play over this, it's impossible for me to lose where I'm going to be in terms of my phrases, because it doesn't matter what I play, my D chord is coming. Ba da ba da ba ba. Da da ba da da. That was 2 beats, 2 bars, and da da ba da da ba da ga da ga. We're back to where we started. Phrase 1, da da ba da da da. Ba 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 da da. Phrase 2, da da ba da 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 ga da ga ga ba. Moving to my next phrase, ba 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 da ba da. Ba da 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 ga da ba da da. Ba 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 da ga da 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 ga da da. And this vocalization thing that I'm doing here, right? I'm not bored by this. I love doing this, right? And sometimes when I'm in lessons with students, I'll do that, and I can see in their eyes that look of, when's he going to stop? And I do it too long because I enjoy it. I really, really enjoy it, right? Because I'm focused on creating interesting rhythms and phrases. So da ba da 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 da. Da 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 da. Ba da ga da da ba da 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 ba da da ba da 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 ba da da. And when I play, totally goofed that. So I'm playing in, like, unfortunately, I'm in this situation where I'm playing lots of 16th notes, right? Complicated stuff. And I think the way around that is to make your rhythm easier. There's a lot of space for me to play a lot of notes, therefore I'm playing a lot of notes. Whereas, talking about this idea of soloing over a blues, if I slow that down to something like this, 1. just the first part of a blues, right? It's exactly the same principle. Strong rhythms. Da da ba da, ba da da, ba ba da ba da, ba ba da ba da da, ba 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 da da, ba 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 da da, ba 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 da da. Falling apart there, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, let me read the last of these comments because then I got ahead. Blah, 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 sound. I like the sound a lot of low tuned metal. I don't know what I missed something there. Scott discovered ADHD last year. How do I teach students whose working memory is garbage, and those of So in a situation like that, Scott, I think it would be fair to say you just typed a long sentence to me. It was full of words. You know a lot of words. Yeah, you know a lot of language. I think the way around that for someone in your situation is to understand that you don't learn to speak Spanish by learning the alphabet and then just being able to speak it. Yeah, you don't learn grammar and are able to speak a language. You have to learn the language, and you learn that by copying phrases. So you learn to say, "Hi, my name is Scott." That's a phrase. Okay. My favourite colour is red. I now live in Scotland. And my girlfriend's name is Melissa. Whatever the phrases are that you learn, if you learn enough of these little simple phrases, you get to the point, like now, where you're able to talk to me or express an idea to me without feeling that you're copying something that somebody else said. You're just freely expressing your concept, your idea, with the language that you have picked up from, living around people that speak the same language as you. So I don't think that the ADHD should get in the way of things. ADHD would probably really impact some of the theoretical stuff that I'm talking about there, where we're trying to derive more challenging musical ideas from the knowledge that we have of things. And I think the process of learning all of that stuff can be quite overwhelming. It is overwhelming for most people, but you don't need any of that. Yeah, you can be a fabulous player without knowing anything, without knowing any theory. It's just not necessary. What's really necessary is that connection between the inner ear and the hands. And it doesn't matter if I'm playing country music or now I'm doing like the swing blues thing here, but obviously I'm playing a soul band. I have a history playing metal. If you understand the language that people play, you can you'll be able to get by, and the more language you learn, and that's not that difficult a task. So the more language you learn, the more effective you get at being able to play the thing you want to play. So hopefully that makes sense. When you learn intervals, tend to only do it in relative to the notes E and A strings. I'm doing it everywhere. I'm absolutely doing it everywhere. Well, my approach, for those of you that have read the Guided Practice Routines book, I actually only really deal in 3 positions. Everything else is kind of transitionary. I do see my intervals in relation to the E or A string, yes. I would never, although I play this note here, I know that this is the 3rd, because I know that this is my chord. Ow. So as my chord knowledge, and I tend to root things from the low string more so than visualizing that this is my root note, therefore this is a 4th. I don't really think like that. I would say this is my root note, therefore this is a 4th. Well, I should really stay in position. This is my root note, therefore this is the 2. No, we're in what key am I in here? I'm in E. This is my root note. See, I make all these mistakes because I'm trying to visualize in a way that I don't actually visualize. I visualize this is my 6 because this is my root, my flat 7 because this is my root, and it doesn't matter where I go. This is my 3rd because this is my root. This is my 4th because this is my root. This is my 6th because this is my root. Flat 7 because this is my root. Flat 9 because this is my root. But if I change strings, major 7 because this is my root, 3rd because this is my root, 4th because this is my root, flat 7 because this is my root, flat 5 because this is my root, 4 because this is my root, flat 7 because this is my root. And then as soon as I have to move, root because this is my root, 4, 3, like all that knowledge comes in from being able to go, essentially like being able to play, if I go, I guess flat 7. Now this isn't something that I can honestly say I've ever practiced. This is me just kind of putting together something that I instinctively know. What am I in? D. We did go for that, sorry. It's never got in the way for me. Never even close to got in the way for me. So never been an issue. Clint Strong fan, sure. Trying to learn Clint's leads. Give me an aneurysm or two to your Patreon. Yeah, I have Clint transcriptions on my Patreon. As you know, I'm a big Clint fan. Really big Clint fan, actually. Thank you, Abstract and Modern. I really do appreciate it. Struggling with basic. So yeah, we did that. Tactical practice orders, like 30 minutes of rhythm, 30 minutes of songwriting, 30 minutes of ear. I mean, that's what my weekly guided practice routines for on Patreon. I'm giving you a very specific, this is the routine. We practice this week. So I don't speak... 80. I was going to say I don't speak foreign, and then I saw that it was you that wrote it. So I hope you're well, mate. Yeah, so I think we're getting close to me bailing now. Why don't I put on... What do I want to play? Don't know what I want to play. Let's do boring. Let's do boring Jazz 101, right? I've not used the solo app, no. That's what I went for. I love that as a da da da. That's me. Patreon supporter. Been playing for 35 years. Wow. Weekly guided practice routines. Every day for 6 months. Every day. The first 6 week chromatic warm up. Can't go faster than... Oh, okay. Can't go faster than the 16th at 85 BPM. Ash. Alright, I'm going over, but fuck it. I'm going to deliver some crushing news to you. Crushing news to you, sir. You've been playing for 35 years and you can't play 16th notes faster than 85 BPM. You're never going to be able to. You're never going to be able to. Now, that's not a bad thing. Yeah, that's not a bad thing. I think just liken it to sport. You know, if you've been playing football, I'm not sure if you're based in the US or the UK. If you're playing soccer for 35 years, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to achieve, you know, professional level playing, right? For me, my speed barriers are probably a little bit higher than yours, but what I can confidently say is that my speed barriers are nowhere near, my speed lines are nowhere near that of most of my peers in the profession, right? And the most important thing for me over the last 10 years in my playing has been being okay with that, has been learning that rather than pushing my technical limits to where I want them to be, it's been about focusing on the things that I can do and the things I am capable of. You know, John Schofield is not a particularly fast guitar player. Joe Pass is not a particularly fast guitar player. And the faster those guys get, the sloppier it gets, right? But Joe Pass was always just a hero to me. I'm never going to be able to play like George Benson. It's just never going to happen. So I would rather, you know, play like me. And it's why I've developed a lot of those, you know, the more... When I try and play fast, things really do kind of fall apart. It's all of those like chordal things. These things that are quite automatic to me. Those felt more important because I think there's a lot of great players that I look to, listen to, and always have. And when I watch them play, they have that look of kind of awkwardness in their hands. Like, if they wanted to play faster, they couldn't. And, yeah, honestly, becoming one with that and just going, well, that's okay. I want to be the player that I am meant to be. I want to be the player that I find inside rather than pushing the speed barrier. Because, you know, pianists do it, saxophonists do it, sure. But if you look at pianists, you know, not everybody can be Art Tatum. Some players just aren't that fast and aren't ever going to be that fast. So, hopefully what you can take from that is that hey Luigi, hopefully what you can take from that is that the help is me telling you, Ash, that you're already the best. I mean, assuming your name is actually Ash, you're already the best version of you. Sorry, let me rephrase that. You're not the best version of you. You're always going to become a better version of you, but you're already the best at being you in the world. No one can be you quite like you. And I honestly feel that exploring that and being okay with that and just being a better you every day means that no one's ever going to be able to take that away from you. When I look at my peers, and I shouldn't even really call them peers. To me, they're peers in the sense that they're working professionals, people that make a living in music. But when I compare myself to my peers and friends, guys like Martin Miller or Matteo Mancuso or whoever it happens to be, or Tom Quayle, someone mentioned him earlier, right? I can't compare myself to those guys on a technical level. And Oscar Peterson, yeah, wow. Not everyone can be Oscar Peterson. I know that Tom Quayle sounds like Tom Quayle. You can pick Tom Quayle out in a lineup. You can pick Matthias Asato out in a lineup, hopefully. You can pick Mancuso out in a lineup. You can pick Martin Miller out in a lineup. You can pick Rick Graham or Andy Wood or Andy James or whoever it happens to be, right? Chances are you can pick their playing out in the lineup. And I think that guitar players get so caught up in... I've been transcribing some Brett Garced today, and you can pick Brett Garced out in the lineup. You just know. You hear him and you just know it's him. That's what you're really looking for. And while it's not there completely with my playing, to someone that's unfamiliar with my playing, you're probably not going to pick my playing out of a lineup. But the people that I play with, my musical friends, they know the sound of my playing, right? And isn't that like the best thing that you could ever hope for? I know the sound of my playing. The sound of my playing just stands out to me. If I hear a recording of myself, it's just immediately like, oh yeah, when did I do that? I'm never going to hear a recording of myself and go, huh, who's playing that? To me, that's really cool and that's really exciting. And being at one with that and just knowing, okay, well, 16th notes at 85 BPM is going to be maybe one of my technical barriers. What I would recommend, Ash, is Troy Grady did a video on picking hand speed, like picking hand potential. And it's worth looking at that because some guys, this is the fastest they can make their hand move. It just won't go faster than that. I've got a lot more movement in that, but trying to refine, no, not there. Anyway, appreciate that. Love your guided practice. Good. As I said at the very start of the stream, and you probably missed it because I've been on for an hour now. My focus in my teaching is about helping you develop your mind, helping you develop your ear and connect your ear and your mind to your fingers, not about making you go. I don't do that shit anymore. So, play legato pretty fast, but not straight picking. Yeah, picking's hard. I can't play legatos very well. I tend to use my strengths in my picking hand to hide the weaknesses in my fretting hand, and the strengths in my fretting hand to hide the weaknesses in my picking hand. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I can't even click my credits, so I'm gonna do this. Go and check out my guided practice routine for guitar book. Check out the link in the description to my Patreon page. It's the best way to support the channel. It really does mean a lot. There's videos of Joe Pass playing fast. There's definitely recordings of him playing quite fast, but the faster he gets, the messier he gets. If you compare, well, I already mentioned him. If you compare Joe Pass to Matteo Mancuso, those are a different kettle of fish, right? Joe would push speed for excitement, but would never push speed to show off his technical ability. It's never like, look how good I am. It's check out how exciting this is. And to me, those are slightly different things. So sometimes I play fast and it's as messy as Joe Pass. And what more can you ask for than sounding like Joe Pass? Thanks so much, guys. And I will see you for another stream or a YouTube video.